What is up, everybody? NC.
JC and
we're here with Xero News. First time ever on any sort of podcast, radio format, YouTube, whatever. We got him. We got the best insider on the internet right here today. So I know that Xero has been hyping a certain report about AEW, and I would love for him to break that right now for the fans. Oh, but before that, real quick, just for any new fans, I just want to say the opinions expressed by NC and JC TWRP are our opinions, and as controversial as they may be, they do not reflect what Xero News feels about the wrestling industry. So without further ado, go ahead and kick it off, Xero.
Rightio. Well, hello, I'm Xero, as you all know. Right, well, the news which I'm about to break about AEW is I've got told by somebody who actually works for Discovery. They're doing a lot of ad stuff and promotional stuff for AEW coming up soon, and it's actually been discovered the past couple of days that the ad revenue that comes from that they actually get in from TNT and stuff and from Discovery, they are actually keeping all of that. AEW are actually keeping every single penny of that. Now, they shouldn't be. And it's actually now been said that come when they get their new contract in 2023/2024, Warner Media have now actually turned around and demanded half of that money back. Now, I've done some research into it, and they've actually earned 97 million in ad revenue and ad shares since they've been opened and since Tony's been keeping it. Now, as part of their new deal, obviously they're going to have to cut that by half, so that's going to require loads of releases, loads of cuts, loads of everything. And the thing is Discovery are actually paying for the production cost as well. Tony doesn't pay a dime towards production cost. Literally, that 46 million that he was given as the budget all goes on wrestlers. There's none of that goes towards production. And then obviously, so he's not paying for production at all, and then keeping all the revenue from it, which is absolutely ridiculous if you ask me. Yeah. So that's the news from it. That's the massive news. That's going to be massive cuts and everything when it comes to it. Yeah. For it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I saw you laying out like the plan for AEW going forward for the future, and how that they would need to cut like at least 70% of the roster, or they would need to go to YouTube. Like, what do you feel is going to go forward for Tony? Like, what do you feel his plan is?
Well, if it still goes ahead as what I've been told, is basically here in the UK, what Discovery have done is Discovery have actually purchased BT Sports. BT Sports have completely been brought out now by them. And I've actually spoke to somebody directly at BT Sports, a couple of people in there. And they've actually revealed the plan, what Discovery are doing. And what they're actually doing by mid-2023 is they're scrapping the sports channels completely. So BT Sports over here is completely going. And they're merging it all into Discovery Plus. So come the end of 2023, it's all going to be streaming. And obviously, BT Sports has the WWE rights on it, and the WWE, the exclusive TV rights. So Dave Turman has said shortly after, that's either going to be the end of 2023 or start of 2024, when the TV deal comes up for renewal with AEW. By that point, they're also looking at moving all sports-based programs onto one mega streaming service in the US. So if AEW is being put down as a sport, as what they're claiming they are, they'll be moved to Discovery Plus behind the streaming service. They'll no longer have a TV deal. And obviously with streaming, they lose a hell of a lot of money from that as well. Yeah. And it's all got to come out from Tony's back pocket.
Damn.
So so I don't know what they're going to do in relation to that. So that's probably going to be his next move forward, is if he loses, if he decides to stick with where he is, then he's going to be shoved on streaming on Discovery Plus. obviously the only other options that he'll have is some of the other channels over there, but I don't know which ones are going to be available for him because Disney won't touch him because they don't want wrestling. He can't go on anything related to WE at all. So that's no NBC, no, nothing from Fox, anything like that really. So it's all going to be, I think his choices is Paramount, and that's about it.
Wow.
So yeah. So it's just going to be, it's going to be bad for him.
Yeah, rough times ahead for AEW, that's for damn sure. And it's one of those things too where, like, I think Tony, he's eventually going to have to cut his roster. I mean, look how bloated they've been for the longest time. You don't need shows like Rampage. I mean, it's already to the point that there's been rumors that Warner Discovery want Rampage off the air because it's not doing anything for the numbers. And then here's another rumor I want to discuss with you is that right now it's looking like Dynamite might go down to 1 hour. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I've seen a few bits and pieces on that. I've also done a bit of research into it. It is kind of, there is some truth behind that.
Okay.
There's discussions behind it. It's not 100% confirmed, but there is discussions about it, and it's the whole thing of you get those ratings in for the 2 hours, or you're down to an hour. It's because they see it. They're like that the hour is, that's where they're getting it. That first hour is where they're getting the numbers. Because if you look at it, they normally open up strong at 1 million, like 1 million or 1.1, and then by the end of that hour they've dropped to about 900. So it's that first hour where they're getting in those ratings. It's always the second hour. So if they can't get a consistent 1 million throughout the entire show, or a consistent 1 million ratings at the end of when it comes to the finals, they've got to be cut to that hour. That's what the current murmurs are. Let's just say, I won't say it's 100% confirmed, but that is what the murmurs are at this present moment in time. Is that's the plan going forward, basically, for it. So yeah, fun times ahead for AEW.
That's the death knell right there to Dynamite if they're getting cut down by an hour, because what do real wrestling fans love more than anything? Tons and tons of wrestling content. Yeah. And if their content's getting cut down, they're going to bitch, they're going to complain. But one rumor I want to discuss with you is this one right here, that AEW talents are close to their breaking point due to backstage drama. So Lee Patterson reported that I feel like there's a smear campaign by WWE because pre-Gresham and Vince retiring, there wasn't this much negativity from journalism towards AEW. Nah, Lee, this is the one thing that you don't understand, is that there was negativity towards AEW. It's just you weren't seeing it from the major dirt sheets. Finally, right now, you have all these major dirt sheets talking about what is going down. So Xero, what do you have to say about the backstage drama in AEW, if you've heard about any?
I've not heard about much, but okay. There's a few obviously murmurs about Punk, right, and Punk being Punk. Everyone thinks it's a work. From what I've heard, it's not a work. There's been a few things, but I won't go into that because that's a bit it's a bit difficult to explain, really, and it's a bit complicated to what's going on. But yeah, it's not, in my eyes, and from what I've been told, it isn't a work. It is literally, it's Punk being Punk, right, from it. Yes. So yeah, take that as you will.
Now that one. He won't go into it, but we will. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the thumbnail right here. As you saw, it's basically Tony Khan pleading and praying to Punk to please stay. Please stay. And why is he pleading and begging? Because as the rumor has been reported by Fightful, sources familiar with the situation claim CM Punk has often verbally expressed his displeasure, including so blatant that they thought he might end up quitting AEW. One veteran said that they heard of threats being levied. It's falling apart there. We believe it. Yeah. We don't doubt it for 1 second.
Well, like all the wrestlers, like Booker T came out and said, like, oh man, being around Punk, when you around him, you realize how toxic he is. Well, something to that effect.
Well, you really look at it. They were both persons on this WWE on Backstage. They were both hosts on that show. Yeah. And you could see that Punk and Booker did not like each other. Yeah. They, when they would do the group holding hands at the end, separate ends every time. Never would touch each other.
Well, how many wrestlers have positive things to say about him?
Not many. Not many. It's usually like FTR because they're trying to suck Punk's cock and be a part of his little stable.
They're there with them.
They're super marks like he is, exactly. So here's another thing about Punk is apparently nobody knew Punk would call out Adam Page a lot of reality to it. In other words, that's Punk going in for himself. We talked about it on CM Punk as a whiny crybaby, but this is what Punk does: is he goes into business for himself, and he knows that AEW is such a shit show that he can go in there with a live mic, say whatever he wants. He's like, if MJF can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the type of precedent you set, even to the point it's so sloppy with AEW. You even got inside jobs. You got Austin Theory in a shitty wig showing up next to Punk. What the fuck is this?
Oh, God.
Come on, Austin. You ain't fooling nobody. Hashtag inside job. We know that.
He's going to cash in. He's going to cash in. We all know that. He's going to cash in.
He's going to cash in on Punk.
Yeah.
We know what's up. And this is the only crazy thing about CM Punk. Apparently, Rey Mysterio keeps a bag of CM Punk's hair. What? I still have some of his hair in a little Ziploc bag with the date. That's what we do in Lucha Libre. When you have a mask versus mask match, if you win and you take your opponent's mask, then you keep it as a trophy. So basically, he keeps CM Punk's hair in a little plastic bag, much like Jim Cornette keeps Shawn Michaels' hair in a little plastic bag up on his bookshelf.
It's like, dude, you could sell that on eBay and make a killing.
He's Rey Mysterio. He's fat paid.
Come on, Ray.
I mean, he basically gets paid $1 million to just show up and pump up his retarded son. So give him that. We got to go ahead and talk about how Tony Khan is the new Paul Heyman. So apparently going around, the person I think I get compared to most often, you remind me of this person. I think we really are different people, is Paul Heyman. I grew up on that ECW stuff. Sure doesn't show. Our products are different. He's a genius, and I'm not trying to compare the mindset at all. You shouldn't, because you're nowhere near. I've gotten to learn a lot from a lot of people in the wrestling business without having that official apprenticeship. In other words, you're a billionaire wrestling mark, and people want to work for a billionaire wrestling mark that will willingly throw hundreds of thousands of dollars at them to show up on a shit show. That's basically what it is. So yeah, I don't see the comparison. If anything, I can give Paul Heyman credit for making ECW something that was, it was a standalone company back in the day. It had something creative going on at one time. AEW has never had anything creative going on at any time.
The best thing they did is sign people.
Pretty much. Well, and it's getting so out in the open about how blatant AEW is with their mismanagement, to the point that you even have leaks going on for AEW seat fillers. So they have full instructions here, basically saying you must agree to show up in the hotel lobby and then be instructed on what you can and cannot say at a live event. And then from there, you have to sit at the live event for 6 hours straight. You have to agree to sit there for 6 hours straight for this. Terrible.
Most people can't even sit for a 3-hour movie.
Notice NXT isn't doing this.
Not from what I've heard.
Well, and that's one thing that we got to give credit to HBK for, is that HBK is making a more watchable NXT. For a while there, it wasn't very watchable, but HBK's making stuff more entertaining. I think Triple H sees this. So as Xero was reporting, HBK has been given a new title of Vice President of Talent Development Creative. Now, Xero, what does this mean for WWE, him getting in this position?
Well, it's going to go very black and gold, let's just say, because obviously he's very obviously black and gold wise, and he's very, him and Hunter together, it's either going to be a good combination or it's going to be a bad combination. It depends how you see it, because obviously if those two get their heads together and they literally just want to NXT the entire company, they will NXT the entire company. So you could be seeing Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa at WrestleMania, for example, fighting for every single championship in the business. If Triple H and Shawn Michaels get their way, basically.
Dude, Roderick Strong, main title push
against Roman, and he's going to go over.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. And speaking of Johnny Gargano, I want you to discuss this Way reunion rumor. So sources state the belief is the Way will reunite for a happy moment. However, Theory will end up 100% against it and will end up feuding with Gargano. Triple H wants Gargano to be seen as a serious star going forward, so the Way won't last long.
Wow. Yeah. From what I've been told, is the current plan is they're going to reunite for just a sort of happy moment. So it may just be on one random Raw show. You know, you're going to have them all show up. So you're going to have Indy, Dexter, you know, all of them there basically on the all on there, all together. They're going to try and convince Theory to rejoin back up with them as per the NXT days. And that's what's going to set off the feud between Gargano and Theory. It's going to be main event sort of wise, because I don't know whether you've seen, but back on Raw, I think it was 2 weeks ago when they done Theory versus Ziggler.
Yeah,
that was actually done as a test to see how Theory would be seen as a main eventer, and he passed. I got told that he passed, so they're literally elevating him up to main event. But the way they want to do it is they want to put him in with somebody established and somebody who Triple H really wants to push. So that's why he's going to be getting Gargano. It's basically going to be Gargano versus Theory for a few feuds, let's just say. And then obviously it's then going to lead to other things down the way, such as Gargano, Ciampa, things like that, basically. And like I said at the start, well, like I said earlier on, you could end up literally seeing Gargano versus Ciampa at WrestleMania at some point. That's an idea which I've heard is a plan of Triple H's for it. So yeah, that's how it's going to go to, and that's going to be the whole point in a way, is they're going to reunite for a short second and then split. So you'll probably have Candice and Johnny together, or Candice and India's tag team. You'll have Dexter doing his stalking thing that he's got. You'll have Theory just being Theory, going around being the ultimate heel. So yeah, they haven't fully decided on how they're going to do it yet, but that's the plan at the moment, is for that quick reunion to then lead to a feud between Gargano and Theory.
Jeez. Now, do you think that this is going to happen before they do the draft?
It depends. It depends when Hunter finally decides to debut Gargano. Basically, all my guys have been told is he's signed, he's ready. It's just a factor of it's when Hunter brings him in, because obviously they were in Cleveland the other week, everyone expected him, and Hunter's attitude is you expect, you're not going to get. So it's going to literally be even sources in that backstage, they're not being told, they're literally being kept in the dark, and it's a last minute thing sometimes for it. Sometimes you get it an hour before the show, or even during the show you get the news down to them and say you're getting Gargano tonight, or Gargano's backstage. It's that well hidden at the moment, and they're literally just showing up whenever for it. It's okay. Yeah, that's how it is. So yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they've been really last minute lately as far as their booking goes. And one of the other rumors that was broke, and if you could talk some about this, the source believes that Indy Hartwell is Raw bound in the draft. So, I mean, just from this rumor, it would seem that the way is looking at maybe being on Raw.
Yeah, current plans are the way is going to be on Raw, all of them. Every single one of them is going to be on Raw. That's where Hunter wants them, apparently. They want the way on Raw because they don't want to put everyone who he wants on certain things. But yeah, Indy, from what I got told 2 days ago, Indy is 100% confirmed for Raw. So is Gargano, so is Candice, so is Dexter. That's literally where they're going to be come the draft time. They're going to be on that. Obviously, it could change because this is, we've had this discussion that before, that things can change at the drop of a hat.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and it can literally change hours before the show, hence the NXT show on Tuesday where they changed that title change at the last minute and didn't tell anyone. But yeah, it can literally be last minute changes. But no, yeah, that is we're pretty confident that they are literally going to Raw, and that is where they're going to be from the draft time onwards. Right.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, that's definitely one big rumor going into the whole draft that's going to be happening now. As far as the draft, what other big rumors can you discuss?
Let me think. Becky Lynch, SmackDown. Don't know whether you've seen that. Becky's going to SmackDown, basically. That's to line up for Mania. One of the plans that they're going to do at Mania is Becky versus Ronda. I'll break that one now. That's the Don't know if anyone's seen that, but that is literally one of the plans. It's going to be Becky versus Ronda.
Okay.
There is, though, some talk, and it's still not been 100% decided, but there has been some talk that Seth will be staying on Raw. Even though Becky's going to SmackDown, Seth will be staying on Raw. And the reason behind it is Becky and Seth have actually asked to be split up because of the baby, so that they can work alternate days, because it's obviously difficult having a child backstage and having to find childcare all the time. So obviously, with Seth being on Raw and then, Becky being on SmackDown, that's going to be quite interesting for that one.
Right.
My sources actually believe that Charlotte Flair is heading to Raw. She's going to be the main woman on Raw, or one of the top women stars on Raw for it. Whichever ones can I sort of bring up and talk about? Roman's due to stay on SmackDown. Fox have requested Roman for it. He's not moving from there at all. The only other ones which I've basically got 100% confirmed is Drew and Cross are both Raw bound for it. So that they're obviously going to be splitting them up. So that's probably going to be a little bit of a hint for Clash at the Castle as well, coming up soon, as those two are obviously going to Raw for that one, and obviously Roman staying on SmackDown for it. Cody, I can see people in the chat because I'm watching the chat as well at the moment. Cody, at the moment, they haven't said where he's going to for that one. Basically, that's all I've got at the moment. It's not confirmed. There's the rest of the draft is not confirmed at all. It can literally be anyone going anywhere. They're not actually finalising it until the Friday before Clash at the Castle. That's how late they're leaving it. Wow. Thursday, Friday time. That's how late it's going to be left to actually finalise the draft. So we probably won't hear anything back until around then. That's how it is for that one.
Okay. All right. Well, at least you got something there as far as like what possible draft plans could be. Now, I wanted to go ahead and ask you about the whole TV14 rumor. Now, this is broken a while back, and then it was said, oh, it's not going to happen. Will we ever see any sort of TV14 out of WWE?
Draft. I'm told at the draft, It's acting as a restart. The current plan is on the draft, it's a complete restart. TV14, everything then, brand new rosters, NXT call-ups, everything like that. The draft will literally be a complete restart for the company. That's how they're doing it. So we've just got to hang in there till that draft, and then it's going to be all change. Hunter's Vision going forwards, TV14, everything like that. That's the best that I can do it, basically. That's all I know at the moment.
I mean, I figured it was going to happen this year, but that does make sense that with the draft, they just do a reset, get everything going on each show, and then just kind of give the fans what they want. There was a rumor that I wanted to discuss with you about Netflix being interested in Raw and SmackDown once the deal with Hulu ends. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I brought this one up earlier. It's on the earnings call a couple of days ago. Nick Khan actually brought it up himself. So it's actually more than a rumor. It's actually come directly from Nick Khan. He has actually said that they are looking into, when the TV deals end, to move all programming to Netflix. It's either going to be Netflix or Amazon Prime. That's one of the current plans at the moment, is to follow in line with the streaming, to go over to there and literally move it all to there, whack it all behind Netflix and Amazon subscription service for it. That's how it's going to be. It's the way forward with all this cable cutting and everything. It's just it in my eyes, it's not going to be a good thing, because of course you have the TV, you have everyone wanting to watch it on the TV,
right?
But then in another sense, it might be a good thing, because other people were bringing this up actually earlier, is you might attract more people, because more people look at more stuff online now than they do on the TV. So it could work out better for the company. It might not for it.
Yeah, no doubt. We got mixed feelings about that as well, just because Netflix is kind of one of those streaming formats that once had a real popularity edge, but kind of has died down, especially after the Cuties controversy. And just all the other shows, they're really living off of Stranger Things right now. So that's their cash cow. So Cobra Kai. So we'll see what happens with that deal if that comes to light. One thing I got to say, though, is that I think that the TV14 format is better for being on streaming services. That way you don't have to deal with so many crazy wine moms getting online and bitching about that shit.
Well, and I heard about one of the reasons why they're talking about going to TV14 or thinking about it is the cussing from the crowd. They don't want to bleep it.
Boom. Yeah, which they shouldn't have to anyways. I always thought that was such a waste of time, them going through and just scrubbing the crowd. It makes no sense at all. But one thing that my brother and I have definitely seen in the last week already is an improvement in the vignettes on Raw and SmackDown. And that leads me to believe that Jeremy Barash is taking a more active role backstage. Now, Xero, have you heard if he's replacing Kevin Dunn or just being an addition to Kevin Dunn's production team?
I've not heard that. I'll be quite honest with you. I've not heard that. I've seen a few things go around Twitter, but I personally haven't asked. I personally haven't been told that. He has been brought up from NXT. That's all I know. He is definitely involved with the main roster somehow, but I can't confirm nor deny what involvement he's got and sort of how it is. But the promos now, they're a lot less scripted.
Yes.
In relation to them, I've been told now it's more. When it was Vince, it was all literally, this is the points, you do it. This is the points, what you need to put in the promo. This is the promo. You basically read it word for word. You do this without fail. Whereas now it's bullet pointed, and it's not so strict on hitting those points. It's as long as you put some of these points in, and as long as you go ahead and, bring up the main points from it, then we don't care. You can go out there, you can do the promos however you want for it. So it's still kind of scripted, but not in a sense, because it is still, you have to say this, or, we want you to bring this up, but there's not a great big focus on it to, you have to do this, you have to do that and stuff like when it was underneath Vince. So it is a lot more relaxed, and the promos now, I do agree, are a lot more better, especially that Kevin Owens and Drew one from this past week. That was amazing. That's all I can say. That was just amazing. That was.
Well, and that's always what WWE has needed to do, is go back to the bullet point system. And as much as I think that it's more so a step back from Triple H because he doesn't want to get too actively involved in the whole script making process, I do think this is going to benefit some talents, as you've seen with KO and Drew McIntyre. I mean, I think a lot of people have forgotten how good of a promo Kevin Owens is. Yes, he says some weird stuff backstage, but the guy is still a competent promo, always has been. I did want to talk about how Becky Lynch is apparently now endorsed by Snoop Dogg. JC, have you seen this?
I have not.
She has a Snoop Dogg chain now. So I'm thinking Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, future hip hop duo.
Could be. Maybe a tag team.
Yeah, even better, right? Oh,
man and the dog.
The man and the dog. Hey, dog's best friend.
Yeah.
Right?
Man. The man.
the man's dog. Love it. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and talk about the Toxic Attraction plans. So, Xero was saying, just been told Toxic was planned to go to the main roster as a 3. Now they're going just as a 2. Now, Xero, why do you think that this happened with Toxic?
Mandy and last Tuesday, in relation to that, like what we were saying, the title change was meant to happen. Mandy was meant to be coming up with them, but Triple H he's very involved with the IWC. He keeps an eye on Twitter. They actually have a full team looking at it, and they were looking throughout the day. And once they realized the amount of hate that was coming down about Zoe potentially taking that belt, they actually pulled that title change for it. So now what they've actually said is, well, there's 2 things that's been said. They are keeping Mandy as an NXT star, and she will appear frequently on either Raw or SmackDown. And what I've been told is one of the plans is that she will drop the belt, the NXT belt, to a Raw or SmackDown star.
Wow.
And then that Raw or SmackDown star will go back to NXT. Now there's no name for anything like that. There's no name or anything like that for it. But she's officially not being drafted yet. She's just going to show up every so often. The girls, Gigi and JC, are obviously going to get drafted. I've been told they're going to SmackDown, but that's not 100% confirmed at the moment. But that's the latest one, is they're going to SmackDown, and then Mandy could just show up anywhere. She could show up with them. She could show up on Raw. She could literally do it that way. But yeah, they are. That's the current plan. Is Mandy? If Mandy gets drafted, or if Mandy comes to main roster, she will come up as NXT Women's Champion, and then she will drop that belt to a Raw or SmackDown star. Is the current plan for that Raw or SmackDown star to go back down to NXT for a little bit. It's all to do with trying to elevate NXT and trying to get people on NXT, trying to get people to watch NXT. If they're thinking that if they can send a main roster star back to NXT, then it might get viewers on there. Example, Apollo Crews, like what we've got on there at the moment. They've sent him back down to there for a little bit when they had obviously Ziggler on there as well. That's one of their plans in, and yeah, it's a way of trying to see who they think will be good in NXT for a little bit as NXT Women's Champion. They won't have a long run, whoever it is from the main roster. They'll just go back down to there. They will go to NXT for maybe a couple of months as Women's Champion and then drop it to an NXT star. It's just that little bit of getting Mandy to drop to this person, to this star on main roster, take it back to NXT, get that star power for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, bang, done. That was one of the things that I heard is the plan at the moment for it.
And to that, I got to say, they've already tried this with Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles, Charlotte. The experiment does not work.
Long-term, no.
Long-term, it does not work. And if anything, especially even with Natalya, for example, that, if anything, kind of degraded Cora Jade to the point where they had to build her back up.
Yeah,
that wasn't an easy build back up. And even to the point where they were going to do something with Nikita Lyons. Thank God they didn't do the Natalya-Nikita Lyons thing. So I'm grateful that at least some good talents got to be rebuilt and escape the wrath of main roster stars. At the same time, though, it's just something that I don't think is going to be beneficial to NXT in the long run.
No, but I mean, what they could do, they could break up Judgment Day, have Rhea beat Mandy, and then go to NXT to defend it there.
But you know how much Triple H loves Rhea Ripley, so she's going to be on the main roster as much as possible. If anything, it would have to be somebody like Dana Brooke, somebody he doesn't have that much care about.
Yeah, but they gotta have some respect for the fan base. If he's going in that direction,
right,
they got to be taken seriously. I
would think so. Is at the same time, but it's like I know how Triple H operates, so let's just see what happens with that whole situation. One good thing, I guess, about Triple H is that he has been hiring some very attractive, marketable women lately. So here's the first one. And Sarah Bear, I believe her name is. Okay. Next, we got Jimade Lucia.
Gina DeLuca.
Thank you. We got Gia Berneo, I think her name is. And then we got Tiana Caffey. So some obviously very attractive women that they have hired, which is kind of like it caught me by a surprise. I expected a bunch of Zoe Starks, and here we're getting some women that look like they could be on Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
Because they're trying to make their company more marketable.
Right.
They need people that are going to grab the attention of casual viewers.
Straight up.
There you go.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So let's go ahead and talk about the NXT expansion plans. Right now, Triple H has plans to go ahead and expand to South America. He has plans to dismantle NXT UK and make them all into NXT Europe. And then he's got what looks like NXT Asia, NXT Middle East. So he's definitely got some plans here. Xero, what have you heard about the expansion plans thus far?
So far, basically what you said. It's those countries. The only other thing which I have put out already on Twitter, which obviously I'll say on here as well, just in case anyone's not obviously seen my Twitter or never seen it, is I have been told that the European Championship's coming back, the old European Championship, but it's being rebranded as the NXT Europe Championship for it. Okay. All the belts as well. They're not because I got asked whether they're being unified, and from our understanding, from what sources that have been told, is there's going to be no unification at all of the belts. It's just the 2.0 belts are staying as they are. So 2.0 is staying intact. There's going to be no changes there. You're just going to see maybe a couple of the NXT Europe stars going up to there. What they're going to be doing, though, is rebranding the NXT UK belts into NXT Europe. So you're going to have sort of NXT. You're going to have the United Kingdom Championships, but it's going to be the NXT Europe United Kingdom Championship and NXT Europe Women's Tag Team belts and stuff, for example, and NXT Europe Tag Champs. That's how it's going to be. So it's not actually going to be any sort of unification or anything. They might change the design of them, but then they might not. They might literally just keep them as they are at the moment and just change the name of them. That's all really else that I can put onto it. There's nothing else really that they're looking to do. And obviously in my tweets as well, as you can see, it says the Heritage Cup is going to be scrapped. That's the current plan, is there's going to be no Heritage Cup. They don't see the point in it on the European brands. Some of the stars that got released will be back. That's been guaranteed. They will be hired back in time. They've just been released for the moment, because where they're not obviously looking to launch or do NXT Europe until mid 2023, they didn't see the point in keeping all these people underneath contracts.
Yeah.
So they released them so they can go off and go do independent bookings. So they can, if some of them want to go to AEW, let them go to AEW and stuff. But some of the big names, you're probably looking at Xia Brookside, Trent Seven, stuff like that. All sort of some of the big ones. I can safely say they're going to be back when NXT Europe comes up. Obviously, that's not confirmed by any way, but that's just my personal opinion, is they're going to be back. I have been told some of the stars will be back, but there's been no names mentioned for it. That's, like I said, Trent and Xia and stuff are just the ones which I can think of, and stuff like that, and Amel and everyone. That's, yeah. But there's not going to be any more releases from there. Anyone else who's now still remaining from the old NXT UK brand is going to be on 2.0 going forward until NXT Europe launches. That's the only other thing really I can say about it.
I mean, I think you're onto the right track there. I mean, because when he eventually does get NXT Europe up and going, he's going to need talent to fill out the card, especially if they end up doing some sort of house show tour or anything like that. He's going to need talent to fill up the card. So that's why I didn't even really want to report on the 15 talents release, because I can easily see half of them coming back. And even if we did name them off, most of our people that listen would be like, who? They wouldn't know who these people are. So I didn't want to go into it. But I do want to go into an NXT talent who apparently landed a big role in a Bollywood film. So Sangha is looking to be starring in Brahmastra Part 1. I guess that's about him traveling back in time and fighting Zeus or some shit. I don't know. It might be a big role for him. Maybe. We'll see what happens. I've always thought that this guy, pair him up with Jinder Mahal, you got a badass tag team.
Yeah.
I think they would be a really good tag team. And hopefully Triple H doesn't leave this guy buried in NXT, actually calls him up to the main roster, as we think that he has star potential.
I think he should.
Yeah. Somebody who Triple H may call back, we don't want him to, but Triple H, is Nia Jax. So recently Nia Jax was, she talked to Kim Orton, one of her good buddies, and Kim Orton told a story. She said, so Randy told me one night he was in Gorilla ready to walk out, and Nia Jax walks up to him all upset and shows him a gay porn video she just found featuring a guy she was dating. Randy just walked out. JC, can you let him know the song?
What song?
Her ass is a dumpster.
Yes, it most certainly is.
And you found out right there.
Well, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he signed her back to NXT to be the women's champ.
You know what? I think a lot of people that got fired are going to be coming back. And I think it's going to be spread out, because as it seems right now, it very much seems like Triple H wants a surprise every Raw or SmackDown. Whether it be something small, he wants some sort of a surprise. So I think that she could be in those plans. Xero, what do you feel about Nia Jax getting hired back to WWE? Good possibility?
There's talk of it. There's not been any talks. There's not been any talks directly from WWE, but there was talks of Hunter wanting her back if she would come back. But there's no, there is no talks there at all whatsoever. There's been no talks between WWE at all. It literally just was pure speculation at the time. I think I even put that out there. It was pure speculation about it, and some of the idiots online, I'll say that, some of the idiots online ran with it, confirmed, saying it was confirmed. It was nowhere near confirmed. I even made that very clear in the tweet. It was nowhere near confirmed when I put it out there. But yeah, there is a few rumors going around that she might be back. and she might have some interest. Ultimately, it's up to her at the end of the day if she does want to come back or not. That's all I can provide on that one. That's where it is for it. I will just cut in as well, because for what you two was discussing a minute ago during this, in relation to the returns, it was going to be a return every Raw or SmackDown, but as you've noticed, we haven't had anything for a while. That's because sources have told me that Hunter was getting the reputation of being called Tony Khan.
Yeah.
And he wants to avoid that. So the returns are going to be slowing down a hell of a lot. We're going to be seeing a lot less people coming back. There's a few people who are ready to go and are ready to come back, but they're going to be spread out all over the place. It's going to literally just be, spread out everywhere. It's going to be, we're not going to know when they're going to come back. They could come back at pay-per-views. They could come back on random Raws, random SmackDowns, whatever. There's going to be no guarantee that it's a return every Raw, every SmackDown, and stuff like that, as it was beforehand. And that was primarily because everyone online was slating Hunter and was saying to him, you're Tony Khan. You're basically now becoming Tony Khan for it. And yeah, that's what it was at the end of the day. So I wouldn't be expecting many more returns. If there is, they'll be spread out over the next 6 to 12 months. That's what my sources believe, is that they will literally be just spread out between the next 6 to 12 months for that. That's all you're going to be waiting for, really.
As they should, because then you just get too formulaic. You want to have some sort of a surprise that isn't directly linked to incoming talent, because that's just lazy. And one thing that I've seen a little bit out of Triple H, not a whole lot, but a little bit, is more storyline progression. So that's a good thing. I mean, the good thing, I guess, about Triple H, I found no dirt on this guy.
Yeah.
Like, there really isn't any dirt on him. But Vince McMahon, the dirt's still coming out about him. So Wall Street Journal reported that Vince McMahon made payments totaling $5 million to Donald Trump's charity in 2007 and 2009. WWE's board found out they should have been disclosed as company expenses. Not good, Vince. Not good. This is something where I think Vince, he might still be having a hand as far as booking under wraps, kind of like the hidden hand effect. But I think that something like this, he knew where he was going. He knew what was going to happen to him. So he had to basically say, you know what, I'm out of here. I mean,
or he knew what dirt was going to come out.
Exactly.
Like, you know what?
That's exactly what I was getting to, is that he knew what dirt was going to come out, and he pretty much played the safe route. So I can't blame him for that. I do want to go ahead and talk about how Punk, he's just been doing some very weird stuff. Not only what he's been doing on the internet, what you've seen on Dynamite with the weird stuff he says, but he's even getting kissed by Jon Moxley now. As you saw last week on TWR News, Jon Moxley made out with Effie. Now he's smooching CM Punk in the ring.
I wonder why people aren't watching. You got to take it seriously, Tony.
Seriously. And that's the thing, is like, I know a lot of AEW fans are like, oh, this is amazing. But a lot of normal people watching are like, dude, this is not normal. Click.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Thank God some CM Punk fans are coming to their senses. This fan had enough of CM Punk, and he had to take action. And that's just refreshing to see. To see somebody who is so in love with Punk finally realizing what a terrible person he is and burning their Punk merchandise. I mean, it's Marky, but I will give him credit for at least disavowing that CM Punk is this god, because he's not.
Well, and then he's going to go buy another CM Punk shirt in a week, so,
Well, once the controversy dies down, of course. Somebody who is getting a lot of comparisons to CM Punk lately for the diva stuff she pulled backstage is Sasha Banks. Now, Sasha Banks, she's been getting a bit of karma back to her lately. Apparently, her car got broken into in Oakland.
5 minutes in Oakland. Just 5 minutes!
Well, that's what you get for parking your car in Oakland. It's well known that you're going to get your car broken into even for 1 minute. It doesn't matter if you put coin in the meter. There's a cop standing there. You got cameras on the area. You're still going to get your car broken into. That's just how they roll over in Oakland. I bet she was visiting her family. That's what it seems like to me. Otherwise, why the hell was she in Oakland?
I don't know.
Who knows? But something else that is befuddling to me is JBL doing a dance with Mickey James and Thunder Rosa.
You think JBL has his entire team in that limo? There's a good chance of that, King.
Wasn't that the same chick that got offended about Brock Lesnar being a mariachi?
Yeah.
And yet here she is dancing with a guy that tried to imprison the illegals.
Well, yeah,
that's part of a storyline. Do you see the hypocrisy here?
There's a bunch of hypocrisy.
That's just modern wrestling for you. Here's a match that nobody wanted, but The Rock wants it for whatever reason.
What was really cool was when the Shield attacked me before the WrestleMania, and then powerbombed me. And I remember Seth. I was on Roman's shoulders. Seth in particular threw me down so hard on that mat, busted my blood vessels. Blood started coming up out of my mouth, and he looked down. Roman looked down and was like, "You okay, Uso?" Call me brother and someone. I was like, and before I could answer, Seth was like, "Who gives it?" He walked away.
You know, this was 10 years ago. I don't have a full recollection of this memory. You know,
yeah, sure he doesn't. But that's a match I don't want to see at all. Like, just because of the fact that, I mean, for all this time now, what have they been building up? They've been building up, you know, the big match, The Rock versus Roman Reigns, which is what people want to see. They don't want to see this dude, you know? They don't want to see him at all. And that's the whole thing, is that I just wish they would realize that nobody wants to see Seth Rollins. He keeps on getting booked. It's pissing me off. And one thing is I'll have to watch Seth Rollins when we go ahead and watch Clash of the Castle. I don't want to see Seth Rollins, but I know I'm going to have to see him on that pay-per-view, which brings us to Clash at the Castle predictions. Let's see. Let me go ahead and just do. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I am back with looks like without the logos and all the cool stuff like that. So we'll just go ahead and discuss what's going on with the rumors with Clash of the Castle. So Xero, what do you know thus far about the Clash predictions?
Well, there's going to be at least 2 more matches announced. I got told this morning that they are not planning a US title match at Clash. Main reason behind that is WWE doesn't see any sense in holding a United States Championship match in the UK. The whole show is meant to be about Drew. That's basically what it's been built around, is the UK, 30 years since it's been here. So they've got the Intercontinental Championship being defended there. As of this morning, there is no plans whatsoever for a US title match on there. I'll get that one out of the way because I see people asking about it. They also, as well, I got told this morning there's 2 possible matches to open up at the moment. The plan is either Seth Riddle to open up, or the other one will be Gunther Sheamus will open the event up. That's as far as it's got at the moment with match planning. The main event is still it's a mess. It's an absolute mess at the moment. The main event is they're nowhere near close to confirming it. I've been told several different outcomes, several different results. There's going to be, a couple of days ago, it was guaranteed triple threat. Then it was guaranteed Roman walking out with both. Then it was Drew walking out with both. Then it was a Theory cash in. And it's now just, it's a mess, basically. It's a complete mess. The only thing I can say is it got confirmed to me this morning that WE is going to announce any changes to the match, such as for one title for the main event, which is one of the current plans. They're actually going to announce that using Twitter. They're not going to be using SmackDown. They're not going to be using any other way. The current plan is Twitter, and it could even be at the actual event, well, just before the event itself, either during the kickoff show or literally an hour or two before Clash kickoff is meant to start. That's how late it could literally be for it. So, all these people online like, oh, it's going to be triple threat. It's going to be just for the one belt. Oh, but they haven't announced it. It's still going to be for 2 belts and stuff. It's WE playing a game. They've got plans. They know what they're going to do, but they're going to use social media quite a lot to put out any changes to matches. And we're going to be seeing that a hell of a lot soon, where for all the pay-per-views and for any changes on that, it's all going to be social media influenced. And it's very, they're saying clues and stuff for anything that's going to go down. Monitor the socials, monitor the shows. There's going to be a lot of hints on Raw and SmackDown coming up to a few things that's going to be happening. There's going to be a lot of hints on social media as well for it. So that's all I'll say about that at the moment. There's nothing really else that I can say. There's been no match card or anything like that yet at the moment. That's not even been confirmed. Like I said, we've got those 2 choices of opening and obviously the main event, but the main event is a complete and utter shambles. I'm told it's changing by the hour, it's changing by the day at the moment, and they just can't make their mind up on anything at all to what they're going to do at the event at the moment. It's a mess. There was one thing I will say, because I can see a lot of people asking in the chat about it as well as I'm on there, is Bray. There is that rumor about Bray.
Yes.
There's a hell of a lot of rumors about Bray being at Clash. Now, the last thing that I got told, again, which was 2 days ago, is Bray will be at Clash. That is what I was told, is Bray will be at Clash. They don't know how they're going to do it. They've got several options. One of the things that I was told was during Finn and Edge, which is still to be planned. He could come and join that, and that will then link in with the Edge promos that we had. The other option is he comes in and interferes in the main event. That's another option that we potentially got, which I'm running through. Or the last option is he's just going to appear after the main event, similar to how we've had like the Cena return and stuff for when he challenged Roman. So you could literally just see Bray, you could see them celebrating whoever wins it at the end of the match. You could see them, and then the next thing you know, lights go out, bang, Fiend's on the stage, done. That's all it is. But that's the latest thing. They still haven't even decided on that yet, and how they're going to bring Bray in. They're literally, it's such a mess. That's all I can say. So, people are obviously like, can you confirm the Bray news? Can you do all that? All I can literally say is, yes, I was told Bray will be at Clash. That is the last thing I was told. But I can't say when he's going to be. I can't say, whether he's going to show up when. I can't say when, which match he's going to show up in, because at the minute it's just not, there's no concrete plans, and those concrete plans probably won't even be put in place until the morning of Clash, if anything. That's how late they'll leave it, because see, they're trying to avoid leaks, and they're trying to avoid doing what they can do. But they're trying to avoid basic information coming out, and that's how it's going to be. So that's literally all I can provide on Clash at the moment. I'm afraid there's not really too much more that I can give you. There's not even any other suggestions for any other matches that I've heard of, because they're saying there's going to be 2 more matches announced, which obviously one's going to be Edge and Finn, but I have no idea, and neither do my sources, to what that second match is going to be. It could literally be anything. and that we might even have the women's tag finals there if it's not Control in the finals. They could do the women's tag finals at Clash. That's another option that they've got. And then you're going to have a return in Sasha and Naomi at the end of it. That's just a bit of a spoiler there if anyone didn't know that one. But that's, like I said, it's just an absolute mess. Absolute mess. It is.
I totally believe it. I don't doubt it for 1 second. Something else that is a mess that recently came to my attention is the whole Lana Dolph storyline gets a little crazier than I thought it was. So apparently Vince would make Dolph make out with Lana.
Oh,
So what was Vince saying to Dolph?
You gotta practice it a little bit more. You gotta use your tongue.
I want it to make it look innocent. I want you to look like an innocent schoolgirl.
Is that what he said?
Nah, that's what he basically, nice and slow. And here Miro is in the corner turning bright red having to watch this shit. But you know what? Let's face it. CJ Perry is the modern day Sunny. She does host shit and she says weird shit on the internet. So we're going to go ahead and go to Modern Wrestlers Remarks. Sorry for no graphics or anything like that, but let's just go ahead and talk about the weird shit she said. So recently a guy said, hard to keep going when you're homeless. Everyone ignores you. Everything is a reminder of what you once had. And she went on to say you have a device to tweet from.
Yeah, we could still be homeless and using the Starbucks Wi-Fi. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
And look at the fact that these guys are having Obama phones. You know, you get free phones if you're homeless. That's just how it works out nowadays.
In California, yeah, they do have a program for that.
Yeah, apparently she didn't hear about that. So then she issued this long apology and said, I'm sorry to the people that took an offense when I said, at least you have a device. As weird as this sounds, it comes from a place of love and trying to encourage him not to give up. I understand my Eastern European upbringing and motivational speech did not resonate with many of you. As a kid and teenager, I had shoes thrown at me. Feel sorry for me is what she's trying to say. I was whipped by my ballet teachers. Who the fuck can afford ballet teachers? Because they believed in me. I apologize if I seem insensitive and cause more damage. I truly was trying to motivate in the way I know how, which I failed and I apologize for. When people would do that to me, it always helped me, but I see it did not help in this situation, and I'm sorry for that.
Does she lack all social awareness? I mean...
Well, and especially when she goes ahead and says stuff like this. Only in Atlanta do I see dark-skinned black people coming out of a tanning bed. That is truly interesting. Who the fuck would tweet this?
Lana, apparently.
Come on, CJ.
I haven't heard any... I haven't heard any rumors of her coming back, so to WWE. So
she's not.
Yeah,
you could tell that Triple H isn't high on Lana. That's for damn sure. Miro, on the other hand, I think he'd make an exception for Miro.
Miro's a talented guy.
Miro is very talented. You know what though? CJ's not the only one saying racist stuff. Apparently, there's this chick named Amari Miller who you've never heard of. She used to be an NXT hire, not anymore, because apparently she went out and said that Ember Moon is the only true black women's NXT champion. Sasha Banks does not count because of her German descent. So here we have somebody racial profiling, which is not fair to Sasha Banks.
Well, it's racist.
It's completely racist. And then it got to the point that she got harassed so much online that she ended up going offline, ended up leaving Twitter. And that's the unfortunate thing about these fans is once they find out that you are racist and you have no problem being racist, they will get your ass out of here. So Amari, just watch what you say. It's as simple as that.
Just stay off Twitter.
Speaking of people that need to watch what they say, let's talk about Max Caster, who recently was replying to a woman that said, it blows my mind that the comment section of Platinum Max IG is filled with feral women. Motherfucker is the best wrestler alive and fine as hell. And Platinum Max said, please do not sexualize me. I am a virgin.
Oh, God.
You can't take that back, man. The internet knows now. You're 30 years old. You're basically admitting you're a virgin. Nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you don't put it on blast, bro. You don't let everybody know that shit. But this is Max Caster, a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve and also allows himself to get choked out by Jake Cargill. Even his openly gay tag team partner is like, bro, even I wouldn't do that. Look at the look on his face. No shame. No shame. But these are modern wrestlers we're talking about. But if you look at the modern wrestlers, what's one thing that goes along with them? The retarded wrestling fan base that is out there. Which brings us to wrestling fans being retarded. So let's go ahead and start it off with this. Is something that just harkens back to the day of don't try this at home. Apparently, these people have never seen that ad.
No, come on.
They don't care. Hardwood floor, double psycho driver. Why not?
They said, don't try this at home.
They were being serious. They don't want to get a lawsuit. Somebody else who's probably going to get a lawsuit from attempting wrestling moves on the street is this guy.
Leave her fuck alone!
Imagine going and settling a dispute over a girl with a shitty botch pile driver. I like how the guy just walks away and no sells it.
At least you did it on the concrete.
Give him asphalt.
The asphalt, the
Yes.
one redeeming quality of that.
Give it that. So hopefully he walked away with a concussion. Somebody who definitely walked away with a concussion is this guy that looks suspiciously like Eddie Kingston. We don't know for sure if it's him, but it might be him. Obviously, botching is nothing new for Eddie Kingston. You know how he does. But wouldn't surprise me if that's him. Honestly, wouldn't at all. But these fans, these are the same fans that love Eddie Kingston. They're the same ones that love that absolute garbage-fed GCW. Now, recently, after Jon Moxley made out with Effie, Nick Gage, came down to the ring and challenged Jon Moxley for the GCW championship. And Dangerous K went on to say, this is GCW's HBK versus Undertaker.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
The only difference is people are not going to be watching this.
So it's nobody at all will watch that shit. And, these same fans, though, they're the ones that will go and stand in line to pay $130 to stand next to Anna Jay. And a lot of times they're dressed like this.
Oh my!
What the fuck? So this guy is like the wrestling maid. I think that's his gimmick or whatever. And he shows up to these pictorials and autographs. He's dressed in a maid outfit. Ridiculous. You thought it was bad? Check this out. Apparently now he's with Trish Stratus. Now there's a rumor Trish may return to WWE. I'm thinking that's her valet.
Oh God!
This dude wouldn't surprise me with
a wrestling maid.
Stephanie knows how things are going. But you know what? I gotta say props to Stephanie for one thing. She didn't have Natty beat Toxic Attraction. I thought they were. We were surprised.
True.
Even Renee Dibley was surprised. What the fuck was that, Triple H? Natty does the job to a member of Toxic Attraction in Canada? You fucked up with that. If anything, he shocked the shit out of us.
He did.
I did not see that happening. I did not expect it. We fully expected for him to bury the fuck out of Gigi and JC right there with a Natty win.
And he didn't.
And he didn't. Shocked.
No, so, I mean, seriously, we were shocked when we saw it.
Right.
I mean, we saw it live too.
True.
So it's like, because I was expecting, they're the new girls.
Mhm.
They can afford to lose. No.
Right.
He had Natty lose in her home country.
I love it.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, shit, he did the same thing to The Miz over in Cleveland. He has no gives a shit about that. It's your upset. You're going to do the job. Just do with it. That's a good idea. That's the one good idea he took from him. Now, the fans, we all know that women wrestling fans are some of the craziest, most psychotically retarded fans out there nowadays.
Some of the ones that sent us death threats.
True. And this fan recently was talking about how Shotzi called out Liv Morgan for faking an injury. And Lightning went on to say, both of them need to leave WWE. They're both bigger than the company now.
Who are?
Apparently, Liv Morgan and Shotzi are bigger than WWE. Where are they going?
Yeah.
Where do you go? At least Liv has a fucking role in the Hollywood movie. Shotzi does B-rate shitty slasher fix on Tubi. It's like, where are you going to go from there? You can't. Delusion. Straight delusion, such is the case with this Sasha Banks fan who said, I always refuse to make thirsty tweets, but I'm going to now. Sasha Banks can choke me out and I'll thank her for it. No shame. No shame. That's how they roll. You know it. And these are the same fans that will harass Kat Dennings and say, don't forget to watch Dynamite tonight. #wrestling.
She was probably paid to say that.
I would imagine so. I would imagine she was paid to say that she likes pro wrestling. But as you can see, these fans, they do not stop harassing. That's what they do. They live to harass the fuck out of any woman who likes pro wrestling, for good or bad. That's just how it is. And there's one fan who needs to be called out. His name is Macho Beard. who went on to say back in July, shit, those titles look so fresh and shiny on Swerve and Keith Lee. Love this shit. Then he went on to say, please save Keith Lee, Swerve, FTR, and Adam Cole from AEW, Papa H. They really need your help. Less than 30 days later. These AEW fans, they're crazy, psychotic, retarded marks, and they don't help wrestling.
No.
They don't better the product.
They just drive people away.
Which leads us to the ratings rundown. So, JC, I'm going to go ahead and have you start on the ratings rundown. Tell us what happened with Raw.
So with Raw, apparently they had a little bit of a ratings bump.
Okay.
So they had 1.978 million viewers.
Okay.
This week. Pretty good.
All right.
I mean, still under 2 million. They've got a lot to improve there.
Right.
But still doing pretty good. Up from last week.
That's good.
By about 20,000, something like that.
Now, what happened on this Raw that made it of note? What really stood out on this Raw? Because I didn't get a chance to watch it.
I didn't get a chance to either, but apparently there was stuff going on. They're still doing the whole stuff with Bayley and her faction and everything else. But apparently, I think they had something with Drew.
Well, that's what I heard too, is that they're really just packing the crap out of this control angle, that you're seeing so much Bayley that you're getting sick and tired of it.
Yeah, and apparently they have a new trademark on that called damage control.
They were even on SmackDown. They showed up on SmackDown to harass wrestlers from the front row. I mean,
in my opinion, it's not going to work.
Well, it's overkill. It's like Bayley has never been an exciting personality. She's never been captivating on the mic. Why would you go ahead and put them in a position like that? Right. Because think about it, when Dakota Kai is the best mic worker out of them.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
It's honestly, with Bayley, just turn her face again.
That's really what is needed. I mean, because I hate to say it, Bayley was a failure as a heel. The whole ding dong, complete failure.
Well, because she doesn't know how to play heel.
Right.
So I just think that's my opinion there.
No, it's a fine opinion.
But what's not my opinion is last week SmackDown's rating. Apparently the SmackDown rating for this week hasn't come out yet.
Okay.
So last week's rating was 1.93 mil.
Okay.
So it's still doing pretty good, under 2 million. You got to improve that, but still doing pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't really complain too much about that.
So real quick, Billy Bob Ambrose was saying, Xero, what's the word on WWE stock ban lifted? Backstage news on Mella's injury. Any heat on Bianca, concussion, etc. And could Ibushi sign in USA, WWE/AEW since he's leaving NJPW? At NC, don't forget Rock and Megan Thee Stallion photo. I did forget about the photo. Sorry about that, Billy Bob. But Xero, if you could shed some light on any of those rumors, I would greatly appreciate it.
Right, so the WWE stock lifting ban, as it says, it's been lifted. They can now buy as much stock as they want. It was put in place when obviously Vince left because obviously of the transition over of CEOs. They weren't allowed to do any trading at all, but it's all back to normal. No issues there whatsoever. Mella's injury, I've not even heard anything about Mella's injury. I wasn't even aware she was injured. That's the best I can say to you. There's no heat on Bianca's. Oh, was that Mella injury at the live event? I think. Yeah, I don't know anything about that one. Nobody knows anything at all. Everything was kept quiet on that one. Ibushi, not at all. He's probably going to AEW. They don't want him in. I've not heard about him wanting to come to WWE whatsoever. That's all I can shed on that really for that one.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I mean, at least we got some information on what's going on with there. I just want to let anybody know, if you had a super chat before this, you don't have to super chat again. Just let me know that you did a super chat, because it's just not showing up since I had to refresh the page. So just a quick thing to anybody who did super chat. I just want to let them know. But yeah, appreciate your information on that. So yeah, as you can see, Raw, it's still kind of plodding along. They are putting more vignettes in there, so that's a good thing. I mean, my brother and I did get a chance to watch SmackDown. We did a live review of it. And go ahead and talk about the rating for that.
Yeah, so as we just discussed, so that rating has not come out yet.
Real quick, just anybody that did a super chat, anybody that did a super chat, go ahead and tell me what you had to say so I can answer your question. I see that Alsor did a super chat. Yeah, just if you did a super chat, let me know what question you asked and we'll try to get it answered. Brandon the Jobber went on to say Bayley looks like a midlife crisis soccer mom.
Oh God,
no doubt about that. And even if she's showing off the boobs, I'm sorry, it just looks like James Gandolfini drag. We're just keeping it real here. Yeah, here's something that we were talking offline with Xero about is Dominic Dijakovic coming back anytime soon, and is he coming back with the new gimmick?
Yes. Well, it's the NXT gimmick. It's, from what I've been told, and T-Bar or Dominic, however you want to call him, he's actually confirmed this himself. He's been in my DMs actually confirming this. If he's listening, hi Dominic. If what the current plan is he will be coming back as the NXT version, but with a sort of twist with it. So it's not going to be full NXT. It's going to be a combination of T-Bar and Dominic Dijakovic. There's a lot of plans for a lot of repackages of certain stars for it. From the last communication which I had, and even T-Bar said this himself, or Dominic, they're aiming it for around the draft. However, it could be slightly after the draft, but that's the latest on that. There's no other news on that one. It's all he is repackaged. T-Bar is going to be gone, complete overhaul, brand new back to Dominic Dijakovic, NXT style on the main roster. I would say probably going to be shoved into higher mid card for it. That's what Triple H wants. He wants anyone who was wronged by Vince, I would put it down as that, and was given a stupid gimmick by Vince, will be reverted back to their NXT styles or their original gimmicks beforehand. Similar to Max Dupree as well. I think I actually put that news out there as well from it, is that he's going back to LA Knight, and we're expecting that around the draft time for that one as well. So yeah, what's this? Sorry, I'm just looking at super chats as well. People are super chatting in and asking me questions.
Yes, and I will definitely get to that. I just want to say real quick, Dominic, if you're listening, no hard feelings. Yeah. I know we had our beef before with Dominic Dijakovic, as we call him back then. We will respectively call him Dominic Dijakovic. You know, we won't be mean about it. But yeah,
give him another chance.
Give him another chance. We were just goofing. You know how we do, bro. But I just want to go ahead and talk about what Allosaur House had to say. Will WWE bring back red and blue ropes for Raw and SmackDown along with new entrance stages? Will Baron Corbin revert to the lone wolf gimmick amid the changes going on?
In relation to that, there's going to be subtle changes. We're not expecting big changes. In relation to staging, I have been informed that the only stage changes you're going to see is for the major pay-per-views, or premium live events now, as they're called. So you're looking at Mania, SummerSlam, Saudi, stuff like that. But otherwise, there's no planned changes whatsoever to the staging for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, anything like that. It's all staying as it is, because it's all money at the end of the day. They don't want to be spending money on something which is perfectly fine in their eyes for it. We might see the ropes back. There was conversations about the ropes changing, but again, that's not confirmed whatsoever at all. Basically, that's it. Basically, that's all it is.
Okay, all right. Well, I would hope, if anything, that they kind of go back to Corbin back when he was depressed. I mean, let's face it, at depressed Corbin, the best Corbin. Yeah. Let's see. Starguts had to ask, will we expect any aesthetic changes to Raw and SmackDown after the draft, like blue and red rubs? So kind of something similar to that. I think, as Xero was saying, that they are going to have changes to these big brand shows coming up, not so much to Raw and SmackDown. We'll see what happens, though. I mean, you never know. They could change shit at the last time. So Joey was saying that Bailey and Kai look like two lesbians who adopted an Asian orphan. Wow. Damn. Joey, spot on as always. Felice One says, what's the plans with Brock Lesnar besides like the whole day one comeback? Have you heard anything else, Xero?
The whole day one comeback? Well, I have, and at the minute I'm told it's potentially just the arena just hyping him up for it. At the minute, from what my sources believe, is he's not going to be back for day one. At the minute, the only thing which I'm told is he'll be on the road to WrestleMania next year, and he's planned in for Mania. But as of 2 weeks ago, he's not going to be at day one at all.
Okay.
It's just the arena basically just hyping like what they do with the card subject to change line underneath. That's the latest from it. I mean, he could if he's agreed to anything, but from what I understand is he's not going to be there. And from what my sources understand is he will not be on day one at all at this moment in time. There's no plans for it.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, if anything, I always thought that rumor was kind of far-fetched just because he's a big money star. You don't bring him back at a day one. You bring him back at a WrestleMania or SummerSlam, big time event. Yeah. So, let's see what happens with that. So Kyle was saying, Xero, I'm curious to know if you know anything about the puppets we are supposed to see backstage. Is that still happening? And if so, before Clash?
All I keep getting told is keep an eye on the background. That's literally it. It's just, I had a little heads up the other day from one of my sources, and all I got told is they've been told prep the puppets and get the puppets out. And it's the whole thing of you'll start noticing in the backgrounds of Raw and SmackDown, especially over the next couple of weeks, with a lot of backstage segments being filmed, especially for the SmackDown before Clash, is there's going to be things hidden. And that whole Dexter Loomis thing, which people were talking about, in that hand, from what one of my sources advised me, is that hand was meant to represent something. He never went into detail. He just said the hand was meant to represent something. That was it. That's it basically. It's just the hand is meant to represent something, and just do puppet watch as much as what it is. I can't guarantee when it's going to be. They won't tell me, basically. I can't get any more information out of them because I don't think they really know. It's just going to be a factor of they're just going to slip a puppet in here and there every so often, just whenever they feel like it, in some of the random backstage segments. So you could literally just start seeing a puppet randomly appear on top of Drew McIntyre in one of the segments, if anything, or, some of that. Or, you could have a puppet attacking Roman, or, I don't know, or just sitting next to Roman. And there's no guarantee that it's going to be the same puppets as before. I've also been told that it could be new puppets. It could be Rambling Rabbit. It could be Huskus. It could be any of them. It was just literally just a factor of get the puppets ready and keep an eye out. That's literally what I put out for it.
Okay, I mean, it definitely sounds like they're leaning towards that rumor where they were talking about having real life examples of the puppets. Because, I mean, I know that was part of Bray's plans before he ended up quitting or got fired, whatever you want to hear. Before that happened with Bray, I know that they had that plan set. Now, it's kind of interesting what will come about it. There's been rumors whether it's Dexter Loomis is going to be a part of it. Just all these characters eventually having real life personas. So Billy Bob Ambrose was asking, now, could we see last matches for Lex Luger, Stevie Ray, Booker T, and DDP potentially? What's the news on Bliss's future character? What do they want to go for? That was my super chat. Okay, so where do you stand on that, Xero?
Bliss, no idea. I've not been told anything about Bliss. I was actually in the process of asking somebody about Bliss as that came on in, but I haven't actually heard back yet. Lex Luger, Stevie Ray, Booker T, DDP, no idea. I know obviously Booker does all the pre-show stuff, but that's about it. There's been no talks at all about wanting them to wrestle. There's been nothing else at all. I will try and find out, though, for Billy Bob Ambrose about Alexa. And if he's following my Twitter, I will, if he drops me a DM, I'll let him know once I hear anything. That's the easiest thing that I can do. I'll ask after I come off this about it. So, yeah, so if Billy wants to drop me a DM on Twitter, I will answer him back as soon as I get the message back about Alexa.
Cool. I mean, I would hope, if anything, that they're aiming to use Alexa more often, because I felt like Vince kind of dropped the ball with her. And same thing even with Asuka, another very talented female that I can see Triple H utilizing to her fullest. I want to go ahead and talk about what Malachi Williams had asked. Will TV14 coming back? Will there be edgier storylines, blood, etc.? What have you heard, Xero?
Well, all I'll say is it's not going to be John Moxley-esque. He's not literally going to get 15 seconds into a match and then you're going to be gushing with blood. I'll say that. So that's a definite no-go zone. You will get some blood and you're probably going to get swearing and stuff, but it's not going to be Attitude Era wise where you've got the divas and that coming out and doing, bra and panties matches, which I've seen a lot of people suggesting and asking for. The way it's been described is the TV14 when it goes back it's going to be a combination of the end of the Attitude Era and the start of the Ruthless Aggression Era. So it's sort of going to be sort of a combination between that. So you're going to have the swearing, you're going to have the, the middle fingers, the bit of blood and stuff like that, and a bit of adult content, but nothing more edgy than that. That's the most you're going to get it from it.
Cool. Okay, so there's a story that just was recently shown to me is that Jeff Jarrett was released from WWE. Do you have any information on this?
I'm literally working on that as we speak. I'm talking to people now from it. Literally, there's nothing. I'm literally on Twitter now as you're literally asking me this, and nobody knows. All they've literally been told is he's gone. That's it. Nobody who I've got contacts for knows anything about it. They're still working on it as well. I know that PW Insider's just dropped it as well. That's it. There's literally, it is as it is. It's breaking news. There's nothing. There's nothing else on there. That's it at the moment. I'll try and get some information out for that, and if I can do, I will get that information out on Twitter if I can find anything out. But like I said, nothing at all. Absolutely nothing at all is coming on that one. Everyone's gone silent on it.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, just with Lauren Otis being quietly released, now you got Jeff Jarrett released, them finding a replacement for Kevin Dunn. It really seems like the old guard is being broken up and shipped out.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like to me. I mean, I think Jarrett had something to offer, but whatever. I mean, I can see where they're going to with that.
So is Triple H going to fill that role, or
who knows what's going to happen with that? But last question: any news on a potential Morrison return?
Nothing. There was no interest when I last asked. I asked that about a week ago because somebody actually asked me on Twitter, and there was nothing. There was no interest in it at all. I think he's happy on the Indies. I don't think he wants to come back because of the treatment of Taya and himself. I think it's more the factor of he's still got that hatred for WWE. I mean, I could be wrong with that one. That's literally just a feeling. That's not anything from sources or anything. That's just a feeling because of the treatment and how they were, and obviously how he got released whilst he was on the road and everything, and that. And I don't even think there's been any talks at all. Well, I was told there was no talks at all between them. There's been no interest from either side from the last thing that I heard.
Which is just a shame. I mean, because John Morrison, steady hand to have on the roster. Him and Miz, best chemistry that Miz has had with any partner, in my opinion. I think that's a big miss with them not bringing him back. Tenille Dashwood, I don't know if you saw that she got released by Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, was it her contract expired or did she get released?
Not sure quite exactly what happened there, but there's another free agent that could be coming back simply because of the ties with Black and Gold. So, Taya Valkyrie, we'll see what happens with that too. So if Morrison had a return, I think SmackDown would be the perfect show for him. His pace and style.
Or just put him back with the Miz.
Even better, either way. But okay, so I want to get back to the ratings.
So let's go with NXT.
Yeah, let's go to NXT.
So NXT Heatwave had a major boost in viewership over last week.
Okay.
723,000 viewers.
Wow.
That's pretty good. I mean, considering what they were getting before, they're barely scratching 600. I think the week before they had 598,000.
Okay.
This week they got 723. So massive burst in viewership.
I was impressed with that. If anything, it just goes to show you that this is not just because it's a premium NXT show. This is because all these matches that were built up for this event, they had some sort of meaning. That's the one thing that I can always give credit to Shawn Michaels is he's putting meaning behind these matches.
Shawn Michaels is a good booker.
He's really trying his best, and that's all we want out of these guys is just try your best. So there's rumors that Brandy Rhodes might be making her debut. We'll see about that. I don't know about that. Xero, do you have any information on Aldis and Corgan drama? I have not heard anything about this.
Nothing at all. I know that was on Fightful. That was on Select, I think. I think they dropped something on that. They had the full story on that one, but I didn't read it. I don't really pay any attention to NWA at the moment, so no. The best idea for that one would be check out Fightful Select, because they had a full. I think they actually had a full rundown of what happened. Well, they had a lot of information on what happened between them, but that's it. There's nothing that I can fill in for that, because I don't really have anything to do with NWA or anything like that, really.
Well, fair point. I mean, it's not the point. NWA is kind of off the map as it is anyway. So let's go ahead and talk about something that's going to be off the map by next year. AEW.
Dynamite's. Let's get off the Dynamite's ratings this week. So they're down from last week, 22,000 viewers. Wow. And it started out with CM Punk. So CM Punk's this big draw, right?
Right.
This big draw. He cuts the pipe bomb promo to start out Dynamite. So they started out with 1.1 million, as was reported. Right. The overall show did 957,000.
Okay. Not something to be proud of, guys, especially with your big push to 1 million. It shows that they have no sustainability. And even with Punk making his return, Kenny Omega making his return had no effect whatsoever on the show.
Well, it's just no one else is a draw. It's CM Punk and Moxley are draws, but no one else is.
Sad to say.
Because they're not, everything is goofy and silly. There's no seriousness in the show at all.
Well, and even with like a card like Rampage, they build it up. Oh, Sonny Kiss making his big return. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And speaking of Rampage, tell us about the abysmal ratings here.
Okay, so last week they actually did pretty good. I don't have the rating for Rampage right now. That'll come out on Monday, I believe, or tomorrow in the afternoon. 528,000 viewers.
Okay,
so better than normal, but still under 600K.
Yeah, they can't get back there.
No,
it's impossible.
Not consistently. No, not consistently with this kind of booking. Well, not only that, but like it airs at 10 p.m. our time.
Yeah,
Rampage. So after SmackDown. It's got to be important if you're going to have me stay up that late.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there needs to be, like, I disagree with what I said before of, like, Rampage or Dynamite being the A show, Rampage being the B show. No, they both need to be A shows.
True.
Like, Dynamite needs to be the A1 show, Rampage needs to be the A1 too. They need to have important stuff happening on Rampage to get me to watch.
Well, but that's how it always is with Rampage, is it's usually veteran against some guy you don't care about in a squash match.
It's usually a randomly booked card that no one's going to care about or care to watch.
Exactly.
So it doesn't surprise me that Rampage is doing the pathetic ratings it's doing. Tony gets what he deserves.
Really does.
Book a card like that. Okay, so Impact. 92,000 viewers.
Oh, below 100K. They were riding there pretty well for a little bit. I want to say about a month, maybe 2 months. They were getting over 100K, and it looks like people just don't care about the ROH crap anymore.
No, they honor no more. It's like they need to stop with that.
Right.
Eddie Edwards should not be the leader of a faction.
Right.
He, in my opinion, he does not have the charisma to lead a faction.
He doesn't.
So I don't think they should do that. I think there's still a lot of goofiness on the show. The matches are way too long. Like, granted, like the Motor City Machine Guns were a big deal back in the day. They aren't now.
Yeah.
They need to stop with that. But other than that, the show was meh. I did watch it.
Okay.
I did watch it. It was a meh show.
Too much wrestling.
Too much silliness. Just get back to taking wrestling seriously again.
They can't. It's impossible at this point.
It's got to be Goof Troop every week.
That's how they do.
And then NJPW.
Okay.
We got the rating for that.
Yes.
48,000 viewers.
I'm surprised it's still on the air. I really am.
Same here.
Wow. So, as you have seen, wrestling is dropping in every single company out there, except for NXT, who's actually doing pretty good. Actually had a boost. So, it's good on that. So, guys, we have come to the conclusion of this impromptu TWR news with Xero News. Thank you all for joining us, all the new fans to come and check us out and see all the crazy stuff we spit about. And you can follow Xero News on Twitter at Xero News with an X. And he will have plenty of awesome scoops coming forward. So thank you for doing this, Xero. And we will see you guys next Sunday. And see.
JCN.
Peace out.